when someone is hurt and we love them, we care more about the experience over being right. That's not the time to hash out whether you're in the wrong and they have a valid argument. No, that's the time to be compassionate, be like, I love you. And while I still don't understand what is going on, and maybe I don't agree with why you're upset, I care about how you feel. I care about working this out with you. This is like emotional first aid. You got to triage. Welcome to the Marriage and Motherhood Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Perda. As a marriage coach who's married with 3 kids, I know how much parenthood could change a marriage. If flirting, laughing, and having fun together feels like a thing of the past, then I'm here to teach you that marriage doesn't have to feel so hard with your parents, and your marriage can thrive even when you're in the season of raising kids. Whether you're in a good place in your marriage and you just want to continue growing together, or you're wondering if you even like your spouse anymore, this podcast has something for you. Join me here each week as we dive into what it takes to help your marriage grow, and maybe even do a 180. You'll learn ways to handle conflict better, bring that spark back into your relationship, as well as learn how to improve other areas of your life from my lovely guest experts. Are you ready for the next stage of your life and marriage? Let's dive in. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Marriage and Motherhood Podcast. This episode is completely inspired by actually the coaching call that I just hopped off of. This couple tends to get into this pattern where one person gets mad and then the other person gets mad because their spouse is mad. And so we're going to talk about how this can end you up in this loop where just because one person feels a certain type of way, it ends up spiraling, right? But here's what I want you to know. Most arguments don't spiral because of the original issue that led to one of you being upset. Arguments spiral because one person's anger, frustration, or strong emotions ends up triggering their partner's nervous system. And suddenly, both people are reacting to each other instead of understanding and problem solving. And so what started off as frustration about the dishes, about scheduling, about a misunderstanding, or about the kids turns into something completely different. And now you've got 2 people fighting each other instead of the problem. Now, this is super normal. In fact, most couples, if not all couples, have encountered this or do this regularly. This is one of the most common conflict loops that couples experience. And I see this a lot in my clients. It usually looks like one partner gets upset or frustrated, the other partner reacts to their partner getting upset, and then their reaction comes off as invalidating or defensive, or it confuses the person who was originally upset into thinking, why are you mad? I'm the one that's mad. Now you're making it about you. And so then the first partner escalates because they're just like, what is happening here? I needed to talk about something and now you're mad and now we're both mad. And at this point, that's where the conversation goes completely off the rails and spirals out of control. And the original subject gets lost in the heightened emotions that both of the people are exhibiting. And so instead of solving the problem, the focus goes on protecting yourself. But what's really going on is that most people are assuming that they're reacting to their partner's behavior. But what you're actually reacting to is your partner's emotional state. When someone we love is angry, upset, or AKA dysregulated, it could feel really uncomfortable. And so many people will subconsciously think, I need this to stop. I'm being blamed. I have to defend myself. This is turning into a fight. So instead of responding with something healthier like curiosity, your nervous system goes into defense mode. So that can look like mirroring the anger, getting louder, shutting down, being dismissive, trying to prove that you're right. And now the person who was originally upset feels less understood, which then escalates things further because they don't feel heard, they don't feel seen, they don't even feel like you're trying to tend to them or fix things. And so the loop continues, right? There's a lot of things going on underneath the surface that are driving your reactions, but all of them are leading to the problem not being addressed and the two of you feeling even more upset with each other and upset over how this whole conversation has devolved into something that is not helping you guys grow. And here's the thing, your angry reaction to your partner's anger has less to do with them and more to do with your own discomfort with the emotional intensity that you're perceiving. You're not actually mad because they're mad. You're reacting because you don't know what to do with their emotion. It feels overwhelming. It feels like criticism. It triggers your own stress response. It triggers your need to defend and protect yourself. Unfortunately, when we focus on protecting ourselves, that often makes the situation worse because we are now making it about us rather than staying with our partner and figuring out, okay, what is it that upset you? What do I need to learn so that we can improve how we handle things going forward and be done with this, right? So I'll give you an example of what just happened in my client call here. They were in a loop. Anytime she would express frustration, her husband would immediately mirror and match her anger. And she would interpret this as, why are you getting mad? I'm mad. And now it's about you. And you care more about how you feel about me being mad rather than fixing things and figuring out what we can do differently. And so it comes off as he doesn't care about my feelings. But through our session, we were able to go deeper and figure out that her anger made him really uncomfortable. It led to feelings of, I messed up. I'm not doing what I need to do to be a good husband, and I don't know what to do with that. I feel like I'm failing. I feel like whatever I'm doing is not good enough. And that led to him getting defensive and frustrated. And so his nervous system would say, okay, let's get angry back. Not because he didn't care, but because he doesn't know how to handle the intensity. He didn't know how to de-escalate things. He was tending to his own nervous system being dysregulated because she was upset and all the meaning that he put behind that. But once they understood that this was happening, light bulbs went off, right? We were able to start talking about, okay, what can we do in the moment? And so instead of reacting to each other's reactions, they're now going to be more conscientious about tending to what's happening emotionally first, okay? And only then can conflict start to de-escalate instead of escalate when things are happening. Now, this is all related to a skill called attunement. Attunement is exactly what is going to help you pivot out of your pattern and out of this loop of, oh, you're mad. Okay, my brain tells me to be mad now because I'm uncomfortable with what's going on and I don't know what to do with your feelings. And also I feel like a failure. But rather honing in on, oh, I'm noticing my partner is in a state of frustration or anger. Let me respond with curiosity and compassion instead of reactivity. So it requires you to be really aware of your partner and what they're experiencing rather than solely focusing on, oh gosh, this makes me feel horrible. How come you're making me feel bad? I don't want to feel bad. I try so hard to be a really great partner, and yet you're making it seem like I'm not a good partner, right? So it looks like recognizing that your partner is struggling emotionally, just like we do with our kids, right? Before you know all the parenting strategies and what's going on developmentally in them, you can perceive your child having a meltdown as something that they're doing to you. And so then you get upset because the emotional intensity that they're experiencing feels really uncomfortable to us, especially if you growing up were not allowed to express yourself this freely, right? You got in trouble for crying, you got in trouble for getting upset or having a tantrum. But we've learned through so many parenting coaches out there that when our children are having meltdowns, they're internally struggling emotionally. And that doesn't stop when they grow out of being kids. Adults have this too, right? We have moments where we get overwhelmed and frustrated and we act out of character, not because we're trying to cause a scene, not because we have this ill intention of causing issues. It's because we're internally struggling emotionally. And so once you start to recognize that and accept that, it's much easier to start responding rather than reacting. So really just staying curious about, I wonder why my partner is having such a strong reaction to this. Instead of getting defensive, like, oh my gosh, what are you saying about me? Are you telling me that I'm a bad partner? Are you telling me that I made a mistake and you're pointing out all my flaws and therefore I can't be loved? Therefore, that means I'm a failure. But really, instead, meeting your partner's emotions with this groundedness that you're here for them instead of escalating. So instead of questioning, why are you so mad? You might say, I can tell you're really bothered about this. I can tell this is really affecting you. And really just shifting how you're receiving and perceiving what they're experiencing so that it's more to the effect of, I'm here with you, not against you. We're on the same team. And I'm here to learn about what's going on so that we can move forward and grow together out of this, right? And just that one shift alone signals partnership rather than you're in this alone. Your feelings are too much. Your feelings are too big and now they're upsetting me. So that can lower the temperature of the conflict so much. Now, the pause is really what's powerful in this exercise. The moment you notice escalation starting, that's where pausing is so powerful and impactful. Not to ignore the issue, but to tend to what's going on emotionally first. You, as a human, know how ineffective it is to address a problem when people are highly emotional. Let's go back to using the example of our kids, right? When they're in a state of high emotion, that is not the time to lecture them. That is not the time to talk things through, because all that will do is signal to them that you're not understanding them. You're not on their side. You're using this as a moment to teach them rather than meet them where they're at and tend to their feelings first. When we can tend to the feelings first and bring that state of emotions down to a more manageable level, only then can you have a productive conversation. If you've been here with me for a while, you know that I say the higher the emotion, the lower the logic. Same thing in this situation, right? So if emotions are high, that's not the time to talk things through and try and logic your partner out of being upset. That's the time to be like, okay, I see that you're having a hard time. What are you needing right now? Or even just paraphrasing what they're saying to you so they get a sense that you are really trying to understand what they're going through and what they're experiencing. Whether you think it's right or wrong, whether you agree or not, it doesn't matter. They're going through it. And that's where you can truly demonstrate, I care about you, right? When someone is hurt and we love them, we care more about the experience over being right. That's not the time to hash out whether you're in the wrong, whether their feelings are valid and they have a valid argument. No. That's the time to be compassionate, be like, I love you. And while I still don't understand what is going on, and maybe I don't agree with why you're upset, I love you. And so that takes precedence. I care about how you feel. I care about working this out with you, even if all the things that you've said so far make no sense to me. Okay? This is like emotional first aid. You got to triage, right? Like, okay, you're in a high state of emotions. Let's tend to that first. Okay. So you could say something along the lines of, I can tell we're both getting really upset right now. I want to understand what's going on instead of us getting stuck in a fight. So that can lead to them knowing that you're needing more clarity instead of challenging how they feel, right? Or you could say something like, you seem really upset. Help me understand what's going on. Okay. What you want to do is just reassure them that you are on their side. You're not the enemy, even if it seems like at the moment you are, because they're equating your behavior to your character. But really, it could just be you unknowingly did something that affected them negatively, right? We don't always have the worst of intentions when we do things. It could just be positive intentions, but having a negative impact on our partner. And all that to say, when we feel seen, our nervous system starts to calm down because it doesn't feel the need to protect ourselves, to amplify our message because we feel unheard. And only then, once our emotions settle, can an actual conversation happen, right? That's when it becomes easier and more productive. And if you stay in this loop, you're not going to be able to work through things, which means that you're not going to grow in connection, grow in understanding, grow in love, grow in partnership, because your conversations aren't ever going anywhere, right? They're staying in this loop where things don't settle down and allow you to have the space and capacity, nervous system wise, to talk it through as partners, because you're staying elevated and then dropping it because you get exhausted from the argument. But you're not actually having that resolution between the two of you, right? When you stay in this loop, your arguments are going to continue escalating quickly. Your issues will continue to go unresolved, and you're both going to feel really misunderstood by each other, which will erode your emotional intimacy and safety with each other. And over time, this can look like not bringing anything up anymore because you're just afraid of the fallout that will happen, or every conversation will turn into a fight because you just have no understanding of what you each mean, and you are going to assume the worst out of each other. Neither of these outcomes actually build a strong marriage. Now, the good news is that this pattern doesn't mean that your relationship is irreparable, okay? This simply means that your nervous systems have not learned how to work together during conflict yet, which is a skill, and skills can be learned, right? This is not a personality trait. This is 100% something that can be learned and something that can be changed, okay? You will know that this is for you to work on if you notice your conversations escalate quickly, if you feel defensive the moment your partner gets upset, or if you guys are mirroring each other and anytime there's heightened emotions, you guys are just escalating each other and the conversation spirals out of control. This is also you if your arguments are shifting away from the original issue, or one of you feels misheard and the other person feels attacked, or small problems turn into big fights. Okay? If this sounds familiar, you are 100% not alone. There are so many couples who do this. I dare say most of my clients start off this way. And it's because this dynamic is incredibly common. Okay? But it doesn't have to stay that way. There is a different way to go about this. You can get to the point where you're able to talk things through in a calm way, in a productive way, and actually come out feeling stronger as a couple, growing in your understanding of each other, and getting to the point where the escalations are really short or they don't happen at all. Okay. So I would so much love for all of you to be able to do this, because life is too short to spend all your time together just in a fight. And there's absolutely something that you can do about that to change the nature of how you fight. Okay. Let's break this loop so that you can become better communicators. It really comes down to learning how to regulate yourself, understand your partner, and navigate heightened emotions differently. That's exactly the work that I do with my clients in coaching. I help couples slow these patterns down so that they can have better conversations and connect on a deeper level. And when you do that, that's what allows for your connection to be stronger, for you two to have way more fun and enjoy your relationship more often and really rock parenting as a team because you have that foundation. If this is speaking to you and you're like, we need to figure this out and we need help, book a clarity call. Okay. During this call, we can figure out what's going on and I can share with you how marriage coaching can help you get to that type of marriage that you are wanting. And that's it for this episode. If you know someone that could benefit from listening to this episode, please share this with them. Better yet, share this episode in your stories and tag me, and I'll give you a shout out. And if you love this show, thank you so much for being a listener. I so appreciate you tuning in every single week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Please consider leaving a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That's what helps the show grow. It helps more people like you get the support that they need. And I'll catch you back here on the next episode. Bye. That's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. If you did, please send me a message over on Instagram at Michelle Perta Coaching to let me know what you loved most about it. Hearing from my listeners is my absolute favorite. And if you've been loving this podcast, please leave a rating and review. This will help people like you find the show and get the help they need. Catch you here on the next episode. Bye.